Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. Happy Wednesday, bin day Wednesday in the Bun household. Absolute scenes. You can tell it is the international break. I fucking hate the international break. So why they can't start the Premier League like 2 weeks later and get the first international break out the way before. Anyway, so I thought, what should we do? What should we do? You know, I don't want to talk about free transfers. I don't want to talk about Joel Matip or anything like that. I thought, you know what? I'm going to get a West Ham cult hero. I said cult. West Ham cult hero on to have a chat, talk, have a bit of a giggle. But unfortunately, Carlton Cole wasn't available. So we've got the next best thing. We've got this man. Let me just roll the little video. Where's the little video? I did a special little video. So ahead of his book launch, which is launched by, which is in association with E13 events, we've got Ian and we've got Jimmy on to talk about that and just West Ham in general. Let's bring them on. Gentlemen, how are we? Sorry, by the way, Jimmy is there. He's just in the depths of Lincolnshire. And so...
Dark in Lincoln.
There's no light. There's no lights in Lincolnshire, mate.
Jim.
There's no lights in Lincolnshire, mate.
How are we, gents?
Good.
Yeah, very good, my friend. Very good. All the better for speaking to you.
Oh, God bless you. But we speak to each other every week. Every week, Jim.
Yeah, but you're better on this. You bring your banter when you're on your channel.
Yeah, I've got to be all clear. I've got to be all sensible. I'm eating my dinner as well when you talk to me. So that's more important. Do you guys hate the international break as much as I hate it?
You go first, Jim.
I'll be honest. I don't. I think it's too soon. I do, but I do like the international breaks. I must admit. I think it's for a club. It's nice. It's crap for the fans. Rubbish for the fans because you're just getting going. But I think as a player and as a club, you've just had all pre-season. You know, you've got some hard work and you've got some hard yards and you've had a couple of hard games to start, and it's just a little bit of a breather from it for me. So you can use it wisely. But for fans and for viewing, it's rubbish, isn't it? And even Walsall off this weekend, which is not even good.
Oh, is it? So you'd have gone to a game anyway, innit? But that's off as well. So, typical.
Yeah,
Ian, what about you, mate?
I'd got a chance.
Bores the shit out of me international break, if I'm totally honest. Like you say, 3 games into the season, I thought we played really well, didn't we, against City? To be fair,
yeah.
Showed some good signs, didn't we? And then you think, let's get into the next game, and then bang, international break. And if we ain't had enough of England in the summer, now we've got 2-0 games. And I gave up on England in Euro '96. If I'm being honest, they pulled me in again in the last few years, but no, it's club for me all day long. But no, let's get back to club. I can't wait for Fulham away. Let's just roll on for Fulham away.
Yeah, and we got to say we could have a 30-year-old centre half by then, probably on a free transfer from someone. So it's all scenes at West Ham at the moment. But obviously we are as we said, there's Jim is doing his book launch in a few weeks' time, and ticket sales are going well. I imagine, Ian, you were saying today.
Yeah, they're going well. Yeah, we sold a nice few tickets. It's at our usual venue, Russ, in Romford. But we have always got room for more, and so if people are interested, we got a lot. So when we spoke to Jim and said about we'd like to get together about you, he's been speaking about a book for probably since you was playing, Jim, haven't you? You've been on about this book.
Well, do you know what? I did one when I was playing, and now it's but I'm 2 divorces since then. I'm not playing anymore, so I can say what the fuck I like. I can't get sued. I can't get divorced again. I can't get sued. So, although there's a couple of lads that Rufus Brevitt in particular he's with his lawyers at the minute.
To be fair, it's going to be really fun. Like we said to want to launch the book coincide it with an event. People come along. If they want to buy the book, they buy the book. If they don't, then it's just £10 a ticket entry. And, it'd be really good. Paul Konchesky's making his debut as well. Great mate of Jimmy's, teammate, and really, really good lad. He supported us in the DT38 charity match at Dagenham, and he's going to be, he wants to get onto the circuit. He's got, I'm lucky. I get to see Rufus, Conch, and Jimmy. I see them at the Bournemouth game together, and it's just going to be such a laugh. And we're happy to get another couple as well.
Oh, it'd be brilliant. It'd be a great laugh. It'd be a great event. And if you haven't been to the Rusk before any of Ian's events, do get along to them. They're great fun. They're great fun. I think the last one I went to was the one where Jimmy did his comparing debut, really, with Colton. Yeah. And how times have changed, because that was a few of those questions were a bit tense, weren't it? Because it was under a different regime. We can talk about that now. It was under a different regime, and I think you and Colton held your own. But hopefully, a bit of a nicer crowd now, a bit more joyous with this Locatelli.
No, I thought it was great. I loved it. It was a tester for Coley, though. As a good compare, I should have probably stopped him and gone, but I was encouraging it more. He dealt with it really well, to be fair.
Say the least, he was diplomatic.
That's it. That was it. Yeah, that was different. But Cole, what do you think of David Moyes?
If you're going to compare anyone, compare Coley.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a real fun night, and it's really good. And as we were saying,
times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he kept on swearing, didn't he? I never heard Colton Cole swear much. He was swearing loads, weren't he? Bless him. Definitely the best one.
With the stories that he's got, so.
But I mean, Jim, what I think people know can have an idea what the book's about. But in your words, obviously you've written it. What can we expect from the book? I
think I say a line there towards the end where I go, listen, at the very end, I've said, I hope you enjoyed it. I've been so fortunate to have such a fantastic career, met so many great people, great banter. I have a good coaching career as well. So I've met so many. It's been unbelievable, really. So I hope you laugh with me when you read it. I hope you cry with me a little bit for a couple of things, because there is some depth to it. There was some tough times in there, especially through the knee injury. I'd always wanted to play in the Prem. I'd always been told I was too small, hence the title of the book. Obviously, size and everything. And then there was a bit of innuendo in there. What am I talking about? The height or other stuff? But I'd always been told I was too small, and I battled through it, and I got to where I wanted to be in the Prem to prove everyone wrong, prove myself right. And obviously that the knee injury happened with a minute to go just before I got there. So all my dreams are coming true with a minute to go, seconds to go, really. And, my whole world fell apart, really, for a couple of years. But then battled back and, made me debut in a Prem for a club I fell in love with as well. So it was, it's a great I love it. But there is some depth to it, and there's a lot of banter with it as well, which is good all round.
Really? Banter from you, Jimmy? Never. You're just so straight-laced usually.
Well, it's more about the other lads than me, so they're quite funny.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay,
and I mentioned he's not happy.
Oh, bless him. Well, he should turn up on Friday, and then he could defend himself, couldn't he, if he was there?
Well, I think I've spoke to a few of them, and I'm hoping. Listen, most are going to come and just sit and have a beer, and we're going to turn it into a bit of a night out and a bit of a party as well. So we'll hopefully get the good stuff on the stage and get some good questions on there, and we'll just basically have a piss up, which is great, isn't it?
And he does end up in the nightclub in Romford afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have told Mrs. Budden that I probably won't be home that night. So because I've got a feeling. Wise words.
Yeah, we'll end up in some dodgy hole in Romford, which would be great.
We'll put the table for Yates's.
Like that, Jim. For fuck's sake.
That's a bit too much.
But
he's let me read. He sent me some of the book and asked for an opinion. And when he says there is some deep moments in there as well, I was obviously everyone when Jimmy says that he fell in love with the club. Club fell in love with Jimmy a little bit as well, didn't they? Because everyone has embraced Jimmy, and like you see him on match day now, and such a good character. I'm not blowing smoke up his arse. He knows.
No.
I mean, he's been great for us. Supported all our golf days. We've never ever said no to anything, and he's just a good bloke. And we've always liked players who give 100%, haven't we? That's what we fall for. It's like, you'll be maybe not a legend, but you'll be a hero if you give us 100%. And I think that's what come through with Jimmy. I remember being at Cardiff that day when he got injured. You were shitting yourself. You thought, oh no, blimey, what's going to happen? Bywater's coming on, and he'd had some dodgy moments before Jimmy went in that season. And as I go back to reading the book, it's a great balance of banter and the insight of a player's injury at a big moment, and obviously, coming from where Jimmy come from at Walsall and a background like that, and getting to a club like West Ham, getting promoted, and then getting into the Premier League, and then after that we had the cup final as well, which I'm sure, as you read the book, you'll find out a bit more intriguing stuff about what Jimmy was doing in and around the cup final to try and get a game. So, which is
tried
great.
everything.
But it's a brilliant balance of a book. It's a lot of these biographies have come out, and they're like, some can be very straight laced. They don't really have much banter about them. Some are just all banter. This is a real good balance, a real good insight into times. Certainly times I loved at West Ham. I think them years under Pards was fantastic when he got us promoted and then got the cup final, and then and the amount of players that Jimmy was in and around as well, like your Tevez's and people like that, the Mascherano's turning up. So like how the club changed, and then onto the Alan Kirbyshe era. But it's I'm fortunate enough he sent me and one chapter I couldn't believe what I was reading. I couldn't believe like going into the time he went through with his injury and putting yourself in that player's position, how dark a time that must have been. And then obviously his banter's fucking shit, isn't it? To be honest with you,
Listen, the banter's the only thing that gets me through.
There is some. You will laugh and you will cry. It is like that. And I'm only 3 chapters in, so it's like I can't wait to get the rest of it. To be honest,
yeah.
But it is well worth. Well, I'm not saying it's a promoter. If I weren't promoting this, I'd be buying this book and I'd be laughing and crying with it, because it's fascinating.
Yeah, no, it is. It's fascinating. I mean, I can't wait to obviously, I'll more importantly, but fuck everyone else, I'll be at the Rusk as well. So there we go. You can come and meet me. I'm joking. When I pay him for the ticket, I'll be there. Which I'll do tomorrow. But no, I find that fascinating because someone like Jimmy, we see, and most football players, you see him as in a microcosm. You see 90 minutes, and the week's not 90 minutes. It's a fucking long time, So there's, as you said, Trip. I was reading the book that Callum put out and Paul in terms of Inside the Academy. Same thing. All the stuff he done, and it's got Darren in there. It's got, some really interesting stories. And you just don't know. I see Jimmy on the pitch for 90 minutes, and as you said, injuries, all that shit behind there. It's I find it fascinating. Obviously, you Simbas. I'm fortunately have either sort of a peek behind the curtain a little bit, but not to the extent of finding out all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to reading it, and also just the banter. I mean, Rufus, Conch, it's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be such a funny night. I'm really looking forward to it. Because it's.
We done an evening recently with Tony Cotty, didn't we, Jim? And there was Danny Gabardon. Who else was there? Dean Ashton,
Big Dino. Yeah.
Yourself.
Ginge just came along for a few beers, which I think he's probably going to do for this one.
That really puts it into perspective that Ginge wasn't there as a guest of the evening or nothing, but he came along, and to see the 5 of them like engaged and have the banter. So obviously we're fortunate. We do a lot of work with the guys from like 86 and 80, and you always look at them and they were characters, and they had a great camaraderie with one another. Like the boys of 86 are great friends, and you can even see like after all them years they get together, they have a laugh, they enjoy each other's company. These boys, that little they were just the same. So they were like, how I like to say, it's like modern players who could have played years ago in that era and could have held their own with the banter and with their ability as well. But I mean, it was just great. And then lo and behold, the five of them went out on the piss afterwards, like you do. But I don't want to tell too many secrets. But they went and had a great night as well afterwards. But it's just the banter that they've got. It was, you know, modern players do get a bit of a grilling, don't they? You know, I suppose with the influx of everything about, you know, not connecting with fans. But these guys, you know, they had such fun as well, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
So true. So true, and you get, and I mean, obviously, I'm witness to it every match day. You know, go down for mid-dinner, and you see lots of different generations of ex-players as part of the ambassadors, from Stag all the way to probably Matty Jarvis is probably the youngest one, so to speak. But they all are together, and especially when we had the European nights, because you go down, and I'm excited for a European night, and you go down, and there's an extra buzz. You can see Monks is like twitching everywhere. You know, you just see everyone get excited. It's so lovely to see. I remember once when Clive Best came, and literally he walked in the door. Every one of those ambassadors stood up straight away, as if we would see if Clive Best walked in, and went over and shook his hand. And it's stuff like that you don't see, fans don't see, but you get it. And as you said, those sort of interactions, those sort of the facts that, you know, Jimmy and Rufus was Rufus's birthday, and all, I love it because we want to have that sort of association with players, and the players have that association with each other as well. And as you said, by the sounds of it, Jimmy hopefully will still have some friends after the publishing of this book. It's great. I love it. I love just seeing the players interact with each other from different generations, as well as the generation that they played in. You know, it's like, I remember the night you had on with the FA Cup, the Strikers night, and you had like Stag, Trevor Morley, Tony Cotty, Psycho, and it was just so fun, all of them. It was really fun just seeing, and that's what I love about your events particularly, and is you know, yes, you can get the boys of 86 together, but you get people from different generations, you know, as strikers or as defenders or goalies, and that's brilliant to see. Love it.
Well, that's, you know, a couple of nights that we tried to do. I mean, it was a year ago that we had Madness Part 1, which was Martin Allen, Stuart Pearce, and Keith Robson, Nutty Robbo. And you know, I don't think none of them, other than probably Martin and Robbo, had ever met one another. But the evening, you know, we billed it as Madness because we had Psycho, we had Nutty Robbo, and obviously we had Mad Dog Martin Allen. And that was it was such a good blend of people, because there was something for everyone. There was something from 1975 to 2005, you know, so there was stuff like that. And that's what we've done. I think Jimmy come to one that a similar one we done with a promotion evening that we done with Colton and Alan Bev, and I can't remember who else was there now, but it was the same. We had a 55-year span of players, if you like, so we could talk about something from I think Stag might have been at that one as well, but it might have been like talking from something from the 60s to something to like just 10, 15 years ago. But you know, the balance and the blend that it brings is always good. And going back, that was Madness Part 1. This book launch is definitely Madness Part 2. When you get them three on there, and there'll be a couple of others that join, it will just be mental. Like you won't even talk about the book. That'll go out the window after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't wait. I think it's been brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. And we'll come to
say who we're going to.
Go on, Jim.
Go on, mate. No, I was just going to say, we'll probably put out as close than it gets, like who else is going to be there as well. But I half want to keep it under wraps and just let everyone discover who's going to be there, because like there's so many lads in the book. I've spoken to so many, they've all said they want to come. So
yeah, I mean, it would be. We've never done it before, where we've done an event where we've not divulged a single person coming. So the John Lyle tribute night, we never said a single player coming, and it sold out before we divulged any of the people on stage, which is, you know, that's, to be honest, that blows me away with the people that support our events, to be honest with you. But with this one, it would be brilliant, and we may yet do it, to have two guys who no one knows who's coming, who can walk out on the stage, and that would just be that would be typical Jimmy Walker, put it that way. Last minute.
But it's like Glastonbury when they bring on when Dua Lipa brings on Elton John or something like that. That'll be you. You go, ladies and gentlemen, and then they come on and they'd be like, oh my god, sort of coming together moment. No,
he'd probably bring Noel fucking Gallagher out, to be honest.
Well, he had a fucking picture of him with every other fucker in every other ambassador, including fucking Steve Jones, who was moaning about him 20 minutes beforehand about 500 quid a ticket. Turncoat. But no, it's yes. I think you should do that. No, don't announce anyone else, because I mean we're almost sold out already, aren't we, Ian? To be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're probably, we're lucky. It's a nice big venue. Gets good crowd in there, and as I say, what we didn't want to do as well is say you have to have a book, because obviously the people who get pissed on the night, they'll listen to him for 10 minutes, they'll go and buy the book. So it doesn't, and you got to recognise that it's not easy out there at the moment. Financially, it's not easy for people. So that's why, we've gone for a 10 quid ticket. It's going to be great value for money. As I say, the guys who we've not announced yet, he's still working on a couple. There'll definitely be a goalkeeper there, put it that way. So unfortunately, it won't be Parksy, because I think he's going to Jersey. We was hoping that Phil was going to come, because obviously Goalkeepers Union, they do get on well. But there will be a goalkeeper there because we have to. Otherwise, we're going to have an abundance of fullbacks talking about a goalkeeper.
Yeah, it'd be a bit of a loving, wouldn't it? It'd be a bit of a loving, and I'm sure there'll be at least one reference to the penalty. Jimmy's gone, but that may all come back in a minute. At least one reference to the because apparently I did hear Ian. He did mention it once in passing that he saved the penalty from Frank Lampard.
Yeah, I think. I think that was the event with Carlton. I mean, we started it at 1:45. And for the half-time interval, we hadn't got off the penalty at Stamford Bridge. So he does like to milk that story a little bit.
Oh, he does. But I fucking would as well, mate. He hasn't bought a drink in Essex since.
I mean, so would I. But, I mean, what a moment he got to have there. It's like just it sort of reminds me a little bit of like David Martin.
Yes.
That many appearances. But he had his moment, didn't he? And, you see that iconic photo of him and Alvin embracing at the end of the game. We had a great result. And, again, Stamford Bridge, so lovely. Happy days. Always nice to get something up with them there. But, obviously, that night we didn't get the result. But it's so iconic for that moment. And that was... I think he was lucky. He had a couple of moments, which is obviously the picture of him on Ludo's back going round Cardiff. Iconic, and... Again, two really great friends. I mean, there's a relationship there between a coach and his goalkeeper. I mean, you think of what's going through his mind there, really, with how bad that injury is going to be, and that we just got promoted. He's still got a smile on his face, got a medal wrapped around his neck, and then we had the celebrations down Barking Road, which again that it comes up in the book as well, and that's often forgotten about. I think not like just the final and everything like that, but it's like the 80 Cup final team. They always say like the next day going down the Barking, the town hall. Hundreds and thousands of fans, and lucky enough, recently we've just had another experience of that. And sadly, I was still in Prague, so I didn't get to. And that was really a dampener of that we couldn't book our flights that we could come home if there was a victory.
Well, we didn't really know really that day. It was all sort of lastminute.com. They had to fly Chris and Jane back, straight away to get. It was a little bit last minute as. But I'd rather it be that way than us.
Oh no!
Leak a picture like Arsenal at their picture leak, did the open top bus, and stuff like that. And so
we were. It was amazing. We was in Prague in the town square still the day after we've won, and it's thousands of fans watching the victory parade on their phone in Prague, which was that was great still, because you couldn't. That was just brilliant. What there as well. So, but look, it's. As I say, Jimmy was lucky he had them couple of moments. I mean, it's just on your little video you've done of him there. It's like mad to think he only made 20 appearances.
It is, isn't it? It's one of those. It's one of those players, and I think there's a certain number. I mean, with the I mean, I wouldn't say obviously Ginge played a lot, but there's certain players who are just part of a tapestry of West Ham, like modern West Ham. And as you said, Jimmy definitely, David Martin, and there's these moments which they attribute themselves. I mean, Tevez only really fucking turned up for 6 games.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I think he might have only had 16, 14 appearances or something.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, and then you look at some other guys. But as I've always said, like, regardless of appearances, we've had guys come who have made 2 appearances. They've done something that we've only ever dreamed of.
Oh, totally.
We'd love to do. They've put a claret and blue shirt on, represented our club, and they've, you know, that to me, that's the greatest thing that someone can ever do. We've had Lee Hodges recently at our dudes.
Exactly.
He's come to the golf day and the day. I think he might have only made 11, maybe 9 appearances.
Yeah.
But he spoke at our charity golf day for DT38, and you know, just to see his emotion in, you know, and he was in front of a room where we had 17 very well-known, well-capped players, and to stand there, and he got up and he said his bit and said, you know, he was the luckiest guy in the world. He was a fan who got to play for his boyhood club, and you know, 1 appearance that'd do me without a doubt. You know,
well, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, you know, obviously yourself as well. I mean, we've had probably about 100 ex-players on the channel, and the ones I love listening to are, because we listen to Macca and Wardy, and we talk to them all, but it's the ones like Lee Hodges, like, you know, we've got Laurent Courtois coming on soon.
Oh, okay.
We've got Youssef Sofiane coming on soon. You know, these players who, like, you know, would, you know, and I remember, I think it was, I can't remember, I was talking to one the other day, and he's like, I only played like 4 times for the club. I said, but
have you?
Once I get 10 minutes, you know, change. You know, I think people underestimate, sometimes footballers underestimate, you know, the impact of what they have. You know, they've got an appearance. They've walked out Upton Park in front of Bubbles, something you and me would dream about, Ian. You know, and we, you know, when we were little kids, still do. You know, still think we could offer something different in the final third.
I mean, you know, we do things with Tony Carr and the amount of players that he's had through over the years who didn't make it. And I mean, I don't know if you remember an event we done, which was one of the most poignant ones we've ever done, which was the Academy 75 event, which was, it was a story. Canning Town Len done the film for it. We helped him put the finale together, which was, you know, these guys, they're celebrating 50 years as a team next year. Sadly, one of them passed away last year, which was big. But regardless of what they've done, you know, 50 years later, they're still meeting for a booze 3 times a year, and they shared a stage with a room full of West Ham supporters, whether they didn't go on to make an appearance or won an FA Cup like Alvin Martin and Jeff Pike, or managed 500 games in the Premier League like Alan Kirbysley and you know, Paul Brush. How many of 300 appearances? What Brush had? And when you're in their company, you see a group of guys. You would not be able to know what one was the former pro and what one was a guy who went on for a career in a police force or owned a pub. And that's the beautiful thing about West Ham as well, isn't it? Is that people remember, and like, you know, on that night, the amount of people going up to the guys who and I think 2 of them played in Bobby Moore's last ever appearance for West Ham, which was the reserve game at home to Plymouth. And the people who were coming up to them with like programs of that day, take, you signed my program, you played in Bobby Moore's last ever game, and our, yeah, we're a fanatical bunch, aren't we? And we
are. And I mean, you know best, you know, best in terms of what you do. You know, as I said, I mean, you got as well as obviously the Jimmy one, which would someone's asked about tickets, so we'll talk about it in a tick. We've got, you know, sold out back to back 2 nights to Jeff Hurst.
Yeah,
you know, you've got all these other events, and they sell out. They sell out.
Yeah, I mean, look. As I said, it's finding a balance. So, you know, we're fortunate that people get in touch with us. We went to Belfast this year.
Yeah.
Belfast Hammers, fantastic. 125 Belfast Hammers. We took 8 from Hornchurch with us, which was great. They wanted to come over there for. Sadly, me and Waldy couldn't stay for the weekend because we played Liverpool in the early kickoff. Went and done the show, had an hour's sleep, and then I carried Waldy through Belfast Airport, a little worse for wear, to get back for the match, and that was great. And then, we've got plans for some other events in some different locations. I spoke to you, taking shows a bit further afield, and because we advertised one that we're helping Waldy with today in Hornchurch, Lee and Braden. People are reaching out, West London. There's enough of us over here, and it's finding the balance because, as I say, times are tough. So, and you have to appreciate times are tough, which is why we try not to charge over 20 quid, which, and for a show of what I like to think we put on is good value.
Yep.
This one with Jimmy, 10 quid a ticket, so it's like recognising that you can come and have a good evening for like a tenner, really. Do you know what I mean? If you only want to spend a tenner, just spend a tenner. If you can't push yourself to the book, one of them things, don't worry. And, because you want to reach out to every sort of person you can. I mean, we're doing an event with Jeff Pike next Friday for King George's and Queen's Hospital, raising funds for that. He asked us to get involved at Millhouse in Dagenham. It's sold out, which is fantastic. But like the guys all donating their time for nothing to raise funds for charity. And Jeff said to me, about an age cap. Do you think we should have an age cap? And I said, no, absolutely not. I don't think we should have an age, because if there are kids out there who want to meet Trevor Brooking, like 13, 14 years of age, and that's their only chance to meet that guy, and, people like Alvin, like, let them meet them, because if you're appealing to that young audience already, they want to come and meet these guys. You're well on the way to doing something successful, because it's great how these guys are. We use the term legend really loosely, don't we?
Yeah.
But as I said, there are 6 guys who won a cup with us. Only 33 guys until before Prague had ever won a trophy with us. And we've got 6 of them there on one night. Jeff Hurst, I've wanted to do Jeff Hurst for years and years and years. And, a more iconic English footballer other than, Bobby Moore, I can't really think of one. The only man who scored a hat-trick. My dad was fortunate enough to be, he went 1964, 1965, and then he went to every England game in 1966, and he sees club captain lift the trophy, and he sees his centre forward score 3 of the goals, and Martin Peters scored the other one, and I think we got all the assists as well. I think I'm sure we got all the assists, all the goal, but obviously we don't like to talk about it.
We don't we barely mention it. We barely mention it, Ian. To be honest.
To add the 2 sirs, so we got straight away bounced it around. Do Jeff Hurst. Let's do him with Sir Trevor Brooking, Sir Jeff Hurst, Sir Trevor Brooking, the 2 nights of West Ham. One night sold out so quick, we put on another night. So 2 nights for 2 nights. It worked out perfect, didn't it? So, and we like to think that we just want people to come. I love it when you see people on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and their profile pictures are of whoever they've met at one of our evenings. That ticks all the boxes. That we've given that memory of meeting their hero or one of their heroes, reminiscing about that moment that they gave them, and just such a thrill. And we'll keep doing them for as long as we can come up with some fresh ideas, because obviously, like you say, sometimes there's danger of things getting a bit sterile. So you have to. That's why we try and do different players from different eras, or we put feed strikers or wingers or goalkeepers, and there's and we're well supported. People, we never underestimate support. Like the Dagenham day, the day we had at Dagenham Redbridge this year. Unbelievable, the support from the players, from the fans, from the sponsors, from West Ham. People give the club a bit of a doing over, and they've not covered themselves in glory this summer with concessions. They've not, there's no 2 ways about it. But there's things that people don't see as well. They donated all the kit. Oh, medical team, ambulance. There was no, and it helped us to get to a figure that was great. We managed to give 24 grand to DT38 that day.
Amazing.
We just done the golf day, another 16 grand. Like, this year alone, 40 grand from the golf day and from the football day, all to DT38. Got plans for our 5th golf day with them next year. Something else. It's just, we love it. So as long as our supporters keep supporting us, we keep doing it, because it's, like yourself, you're lucky you get to sit with all these guys and people, and sometimes you don't take stock and think, there's people who would have paid thousands to do what you just done, and have had that experience, and Jimmy's book event will be just like that. It'll be a memory for someone, might be
Definitely,
or from that who was there at Stamford Bridge that night when he saved the penalty off Frank. So it's...
he'll be people will be talking about it all fucking evening, and he'll be loving it. He'll be absolutely loving it. Even when we talk about something completely different, it'll still bring up in conversation. But no, I totally agree. And what I love about with these sort of these ex-player nights is, for some people, they've never met. I don't know. They've never met Jimmy. They've never met Conch. They've never met Rufus. But these guys are the most normal, nice people, and that's what I've learned doing this. And same with what you do. Every person's just a normal bloke. Jimmy's phone fucks up, so that's why he went. He had no signal. He's a professional footballer. Trevor Morley can't get a signal in Norway. But. I love it, they're so. Then I think footballers now. We've spoken about this before, Ian. Saying footballers now. I think it's almost them and us, and they don't live in Church. They live in Canary Wharf, and and they're not approachable, and whereas these events just proves that the West Ham, the old West Ham, which people talk about, is still alive and well, very much so.
Like you look at a guy like Aaron Cresswell, to be honest with you, and I think he will come onto the circuit eventually. Because, again, look, I don't like to sit here and criticise, but Harry ain't got a testimonial is a joke.
Crazy, isn't he? Oh, look, he's turned up. Look, he's turned back up. Yeah, go on.
Someone who's but areas that, and he's found some light as well. What a result!
He's gone down south. That's why, isn't he?
Honestly,
that 50p under the meter.
You wouldn't believe it. I've just had to find a garage. The A1 shot. I had to find a garage and get a charger just to speak to you guys.
See, and that's exactly what the point we were just making when you weren't here.
So that he can buy a fucking battery pack or something.
Yeah, buy a fucking book, please.
That'd be too easy. No,
but you're right, Ian. I think someone like Cress, very much. I think you'll see him on the circuit,
Definitely.
like in the same way Ginge went on the circuit. And I think there's certain players you think that will, I'd like to see one day Craig Dawson will be on the circuit because he had that sort of you know what I mean.
Leon away 3-0 with Dawson Aldo all day long.
Someone's put a question in for Jimmy. Fucking hell, Jesus. Jimmy, what was your most memorable? Oh, fuck off! Your most memorable moment for West Ham? Okay, right. Let me think. Let me think. It was a cold day. Shed end. No.
No, look. I don't like to talk about it, but you're right. There I was, Stamford Bridge, shed end.
Oh, Christ.
Descended off the Thames.
Oh, God.
I looked in Lampard's eyes. He didn't fancy it. As I say in all the do's, I'd love to say...
Guess maybe we can get Frank Lampard there on the evening.
He hates me. He hates me, the fat fuck.
Oh, I love it.
He'll hate me even more when the book's out.
Oh bless! No, we were just saying, Jim, when you was finding some charge about just just putting on these events and how they just the fan base love talking to you guys and how it's lovely to see all players mingling with one another and stuff like that. And
it's
obviously
for me, it's an absolute privilege. Like, I don't just saying it, genuinely mean it. All the guys I played with, you know, we have got such a great relationship, rapport together. The banter's ridiculous. I love it. I'm honoured to be able to do these events and just to chat to the fans. I mean, don't tell Ian, but I'd probably do them for nothing, a lot of them, but don't tell him.
let me screen record it quick.
Yeah.
They're amazing to do and just get the questions from the fans and to give them just to give them the insight of what we was going through and just, you know, just chatting about it. And I love the ones I've done, like even talking to Coley, you know, Big Coley, Big Ginge, Kev Nolan, I've spoke with, and it's been unbelievable. Like just to hear what they say, and I love it. I'm listening like a fan. I've compared a few as well. I'm listening like a fan. I forget what I'm doing at times, but to do them is genuinely a privilege for me. And like, if even to go back to the grounds, you mentioned like Big Ian's put on some dudes with, you know, Brian Deere from that sort of era, and then to the lads this era, and it like for me to go to the ground and do what I do with the hospitality stuff and the club, it's honestly it's an honor, really. I'm not just saying it, I genuinely mean it's an honor to do it and an absolute privilege to be around these. There's some absolute proper legends in there.
Yeah, there are, and as I said, it's nice that there's so many.
And if I'm being honest, it's nice to chat to them now because after the book's out, a lot of them won't fucking speak to me again.
Well, as long as Stag
me with the divorces,
as long as Stag keeps giving me his food ticket, I'm all right. So I'll keep talking to Brian. God bless him, my adopted grandfather. So obviously it is on the 15th of October, isn't it? Just to reconfirm. Yeah, 18th. Yeah, not 15th. Don't tell 15th. It'll be a very different evening at the Rusk. Probably bingo or something like that. So yeah, 18th, 7:30. Now, if you want tickets, go to E13 events. Ian is on every social media platform as E13 events. Every social media platform. You cannot miss the man. As I said, there's a few left, so getting quick because it will sell out. It will sell out, no doubt. As I said, we have confirmed Rufus will be there, I believe, and Conch. I need to talk to Conch actually because on his holiday destination, I need to have a chat with him. He went to Abu Dhabi this year. He always goes to Dubai, so I always talk to him about that. But yes, there's going to be a good laugh. Exactly. Always on holiday.
He was on holiday when he took the women.
Yeah.
He might as well have been on holiday when he was taking the women's team. He was that bad. I don't mean that. I
blame one of his coaches, wasn't it?
I blame him. I mean, you've got to ask serious questions when he's asking me to be his assistant manager in charge of 50 women. I just said to him, "Are you sure this is a good idea, mate?" He went, "What's the worst that could happen?" I went, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
Oh God!
The audience that night as well. The women's team a couple of years ago. So
that's the first question.
Yeah.
So how did you find it, Paul?
Oh dear!
Brilliant. And joking aside, another one who's a great guy and absolute genuine guy. He's a great, and he was actually really good as a manager. Really good, to be fair to him.
Yeah. Well, I'll be interested to see that because Conch isn't someone you hear from, as you said, Ian, making sort of his debut on these events. So it'd be really interesting. He'll obviously start off a bit nervous.
And I'll tell you now, you think I drop in the penalty save, which I do, I'll be honest. And he probably texts me a few seconds. He texts Conch less time to mention the FA Cup final goal, and he meant it. I bet you within the first 30 seconds he says, "I meant it." I bet the 3 words come out.
Jim, where do you think we'll finish this season? Someone's asked.
Do you know what? I'm excited by it. Put it this way, I'm excited by the signings. I'm excited by the team, how it looks. But it is going to take some time to gel. It has to. There's such an overhaul. You know, we've gone. He said, you know, from the manager downwards, there's such an overhaul. So it's going to take time to gel. I think we'll get some good results. We'll get some not good results, and we'll gradually find his feet. And I think we'll finish strong. I'd be disappointed if we was outside the top 7. You know, it's a big ask. There's some great teams in there. Everyone's strengthened, but we've really, really strengthened as well. So I think once we once we get going a bit more, we find his momentum. You know, I would be really disappointed to be out of the top 7. So that's a great aim. It's a great aim.
We've just got to get that sent. Like if it's going to be Falkirk, like we just got to play to his strengths, haven't we? Because at the moment you're looking at him and you're thinking, is it like Skamaka all over again? Is it like Haller all over again? Isolated centre forward again, and you're thinking like, yeah, the players are there, and obviously it's going to take time, but we've just got to get that centre forward knocking in 10, 15 goals a season, haven't we? Because we ain't had that for a long, long time now. It's like we had, like Antonio gets a bit of stick, but he's led that line unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. He's not a centre forward, but he's led that line unbelievable. And if we can just get a centre forward to fire us 15 to 20 goals, then you'll watch us go, won't you? Because
but I think the trouble. I think it's the goal scoring hasn't been the issue. It's been at the back. You know, when under the previous regime, how many games during that particular COVID period did we win 1-0, 2-0? You know, we always and so I think what he's done by bringing in essence 3/4 of a new back line. You know, we've obviously, apart from Emerson, we've got, you got Kilman, you got Todibo and Wan-Bissaka. You know, I think that's, and Rodriguez and Alvarez, and if we conceded 15 goals less last season, we'd be in Europe this year.
Yeah,
no problem at all. So I think, but I agree. I just want it to all work because it makes things easier. It just makes things nicer. It makes things nicer for Jim when he's going corporates. As the ambassador, they don't give a shit how long they're taking.
Europe and get a couple of free trips off the fucking club going round there again. That's all he wants.
That's all. I'm desperate for us to get back in Europe. Desperate. What a night. There was some of the best nights we've ever had, though. And joking aside, we needed them, didn't we? I think at the ground, we needed those nights over the last 2 or 3 years because it just galvanised everyone. It got everyone excited again because it was going a little bit flat, wasn't it? And then they came along. Some of the games we had at home, especially, was incredible. It just got the whole stadium together again for me, and we carried it on for 3 years. So it's a big loss this year not doing it. But if we can get,
he's getting caught.
There he is.
If we can get back into Europe again with the squad we've put together, we've got. It's
I fucking love the Europe games. The Europe games are great because I don't do hardly any work because we get Tony in, don't we? On the old 1s and 2s, old Tony Perry. So I just sit back. I fucking love the European games.
We're talking about, like when we like atmosphere at obviously the new ground has been criticised. I mean, there's been some great nights there, like the Seville at home game was unbelievable. I mean, even like the Leverkusen game threatened to be that, didn't it? When we went 1-0 up, the place was rocking, but. Talking about your experiences, that Ipswich Town game at Upton Park in the semi-final of the playoffs was unbelievable.
I don't think you get a better atmosphere than that. I mean, I speak about it a lot in the book, obviously, because it's a massive part of it. For that season we got promoted was a massive part of it. There was so much went on behind the scenes, but just to get, for me as well, for everything it meant, I've wanted to play in the Prem for so long, and I wanted a chance to do it at a big club. Obviously, I've signed for West Ham. I didn't realise then how much I fall in love with the club. But just from that year and what it meant, Upton Park that year was ridiculous. It was sensational, and that game will live with me forever for Ipswich home and the away leg as well.
Yeah.
We had 5,000 there. We took over Portman Roads down there, and it was one of the best games I've ever played in, and it was incredible. It was incredible times. I mean, obviously I speak about it a lot in the book, and because it means so much to me as well. But I had a few. I mean, I had that year. The next year was the FA Cup final. Obviously, I speak about that a lot. For me, that was meant to be my redemption from injuring my knee. Back at the same place, and exactly a year later. Mm-hmm. And then for reasons, I obviously Paul's went with Shaka. So again, that hurt. That was the nearly. And it's just about all that. But then, the following year we had the Great Escape as well when we looked doomed and we looked down and out at one point. And Tevez came to the party with about 8 or 9 games left. He scored that goal at Upton Park, free kick against Spurs, jumped in the crowd. Even though we lost the game, that was a momentum shift, the fans turned, everyone went together and went, right, let's have a right go here for the last 8 or 9 games. I mean, it was 10 points adrift at one point.
Yeah.
And we came back for there, and to win at Old Trafford was incredible. So lots of stories, lots of depth to it, but obviously there's all the behind the scenes, the banter, and and there's a lot of it that went with it.
Yeah, I think we were just saying when you were finding your charger that, you know, considering relatively short amount of time at the club, you know, as a player, as you said, you've been through 3 or 4 of probably the biggest events that me and Ian have seen in the last 20 years, 25 years. You know, it was so much happened in that very short amount of time. As you said, promotion. Obviously, before then, me and Ian had gone to Cardiff before, and we'd lost to Crystal Palace. I still don't play Glad. It's Glad all over at parties when people suggest it. It's like PTSD. It's got this vision of all these yellow shirts jumping up and down. But the playoffs, the FA Cup, Great Escape, fucking hell, like the whole Tevez Mascherano thing, Pards, all that, just crazy time.
Yeah, it was an amazing time. It's amazing time. Honestly, there's so much to write. I could have wrote about 3 books, I think, on it all. It was that much went off, but it was such a good time. And obviously, then I had a couple of years. I talk about it in the book as well. I'd love to have affected it more on the pitch, but I think after I came back from my first knee op, it took about 9-10 months to get back. I was back for the FA Cup final, made my Prem debut towards the end, and I was that close to getting the nod in the cup final. I still think Pard should have played me. I love Xhaka, and as good as Xhaka is, I still believe that. And it's the bit that hurts me more than anything is I'll never know if I would have even got close to Gerrard's shot. I don't know. It was an unbelievable shot, but I think that moment was sent for me. But it wasn't to be. And so it's a tough one. You've got all that, and then, like I said, the Great Escape. Then I had the 2 years. I couldn't quite affect it because I had another knee op that not a lot of people know about after that. It kept me out for another 6 months. And after that, because I weren't at that level, I had to train every day to my best of my ability to compete with these guys. And I couldn't quite train every day and play every game. So I found a little role as, the second choice, third choice in the more of a banter role. And it wasn't a role I wanted. I wanted to play.
Yeah. But
I couldn't do it. I couldn't get to the levels of your Greenies and that after that. And then, so I found the role, and I had a bit more banter for the last couple of years. And then Zola realised he had to get me fucking out.
And the way he on Savio instead, that worked out well, didn't it?
Yeah.
From Grant, Jim, or and that'd have been blinding you playing under him for a second.
Avram Grant.
I think me and him might have been in the casino quite a lot.
That story of Avram Grant, because obviously at Yom Kippur, wasn't he? He couldn't do the Stoke away game, didn't he? Because of Yom Kippur. So our video tech, Lloyd, who was there at the time, he was the guy communicating with whoever the assistant was at the game at Stoke's ground. And then he said, Avram went, you can go home. You can go home. Then he's in the car. Then he gets a call to say, I need to make a substitution. So he had to get in the cab back to the hotel to make a substitution. Obviously, because you couldn't, because obviously Yom Kippur, you can't do anything. You can't. Honestly, that club at that time was hilarious.
Yeah,
it was absolutely brilliant. Love it.
Russ, just like going back, Jimmy was in Prague. You was in Prague, Jim, weren't you? You went over for the final, didn't you?
No, I didn't go for the final. I didn't go.
Semi-final.
I did at the grounds.
Right.
I did one of the grounds.
I was lucky I was there, and for all the years I've supported West Ham, the best moment of my West Ham life, winning in Prague, European Cup, and just finally seeing us lift a trophy. But that does a bit of a disservice to like Wembley when Coley and Vaz got us up and Big Sam. But taking that moment away, and you saying about our time supporting the club reminded me there. That day in Cardiff when we beat Preston 1-0 was just, everything was, I mean, it makes the hairs on my neck stand up now, because just thinking back to that, not just the game, but Cardiff was just brilliant for a final. I mean, Jim, I'm sure, has got a bit in the book about his experiences in Cardiff. But anyway, with our experience in Cardiff, it was just a street full of claret and blue. And then, the other end, looking at white of Preston, and the year after, obviously, a street of claret and blue looking at the red of Liverpool, and everything that went with it. But that playoff final, the pressure at the time to get promoted, or we were in real bad trouble if we didn't go up that year financially, and everything that went with it. And the players had such a pressure on them that day, but we played well and we won. And Wembley was great, but looking back on the moments, you really
Cardiff.
that the ball crossed from Matty Everett and Bobby Moore sticking in there. You see Nobes jumping on Bobby's back as they celebrated. It was just an unbelievable moment. And Cardiff was just a sea of claret and blue. It was just
because it was so close, because you had all the bars literally leading up to Millennium Stadium, where Wembley, you got Wembley Way and you got fuck all apart from Box Park. It was a real party town. And obviously we knew we were going because obviously we'd been there before. And then come Liverpool, we knew we were going even more because it's the same place.
And I think from the celebrations the day after down the Barking Road as well, on the bus.
That was amazing.
Experience that. It was just that was just enormous, wasn't it? It was like you look down from Upton Park right the way down to East Ham, and it was just a sea of claret and blue.
I mean that was incredible for me. That was nearly as good as the final, because I'd done my knee, obviously, and by this stage I sort of knew to what extent I was struggling. I was going to miss most of the next season if I was going to get back at all. There was a lot of talk of I'm not even going to be able to play again. So it was a real tough one for me. But so I went to the ground that day before we got on the bus, met Johnny Green, who was the physio, the doctor, and the surgeon who was going to do it in there. And we were talking about it, and afterwards I was in no mood. Like, I'm thinking I'm not going to play again. So I'm in no mood for it. And there was only John Green, who was the physio at the time, who went, look, if you don't go on this bus, you will regret it forever. It's going to be amazing. And I had all my family there as well. So he said, look, just go up with a crutch, just go and sit at the back with the families and the directors. Just be on it. You will regret it. So I said, all right. I agreed to it anyway, more for the family than anything, because I had the young one was about 7 or 8 at the time, and he wanted to go on it as well. So we did it. Honestly, I see everyone lined up. It took me about 30 seconds before I was looking right at the front with the crutches right above the heads at the very front. I've never had a day like it. It was incredible. And then done it all back to the Twin Towers after, above it there, and everyone was below it. And then we went back inside and just cracked on in the bar after. And it was an amazing time.
Brilliant. I love it, mate. I love it. No, it was a special period. There's certain periods I think we're West Ham fans, of a certain generation will remember, and that particular sort of mid 2000, mid 04, 05, 06, that sort of always will be a really special time for me, definitely. And then you're right, Ian. I think Cardiff was there's a few people in the chat saying, Cardiff was a great place for a session, great place for the night out and better day out than Wembley. And I totally agree.
One as well, rather than sandwich between the 2 years we fucking lost there. I know that. So.
Yeah. I had the same car park space for 3 years in a row. So I was quite exactly the same car park space. Yeah, exactly. Well, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3 was good. Right. But gents, I won't keep you too long now. Look, as I said, we've got the 18th of October. Get along. There won't be a lot of tickets left. That is for sure. If there's, as I said, contact Ian, E13 events, Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever we call it, Instagram, the lot is on there. As I said, they will sell out. It will sell out. It'll be an absolute hilarious. I'm looking forward to it. We ain't got a game on Saturday, have we? On the Saturday, have we?
We're away to Spurs on the next day.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
Because we have to bring that up and all, because he done the fucking dirty on us and went.
Oh yeah, we haven't even mentioned that. That's
we don't talk about that round these parts.
We don't talk about Bruno. No.
There was a couple of belting stories though of his time at top.
To be honest,
different.
There's a couple of crackers, and our fans will love it, because I did stitch a couple of the players up, especially Pavlyuchenko. That's a brilliant story.
Brilliant,
fantastic. The belters, yeah.
Brilliant. All right then, gents. Well, as I said, thank you very, very much for coming on, guys. As always, it's a pleasure. Lovely talking to you. We'll see you on the 18th. Get your tickets, people. And is the book going to be available on Amazon and stuff like that, Jim?
Yeah, it'd be available everywhere. Just try and get it out for the first week of October, just to like have it ready for pre-launch, and then we'll hopefully bang on for the 18th.
Perfect. Gentlemen, absolute pleasure. I'm going to kick you out, so don't worry. It'll be easier. Guys, thank you. Absolute pleasure, peeps.
Thanks a lot.
My pleasure, honestly.
See you soon,
Thanks
man.
ever so much.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers,
Go on,
guys. Go you wins. Let's kick Jim out. Right, guys. Thank you very, very much for your time. Now, Budgie, if you're listening to me, go and start your stream now. All right, go and start your stream now. We have got Budgie doing Old School Hammers with Kieran starting very, very soon. But what we will do is you won't have to go anywhere, my friends. Once Budgie's live, I'll basically end the stream, and it will take you straight to Budgie. Lucky you and Kieran over in Australia. Very strange how like Budgie's it's nighttime, it's daytime over there. Anyway, once more, my friends, let me because I really don't want you guys to miss this, because it's a really good price. A tenner a ticket. If you don't want the book, if you want a signed book, it's 25 quid. It's the 18th of October at the Rusk. Great venue, decent price beer as well. 7:30 start. There will be, as we know, Conch is being confirmed. Rufus is going to be confirmed. We might not confirm any of the other players who turn up, because maybe Chintando's going to turn up, but there's going to be more than those two turning up, and it's going to be a bit of a piss up by the sounds of it. So conga line to Yates's afterwards, I would imagine. But make sure you get on tenner. As I said, if you want, go and look at E13 events on Twitter, Facebook, all that type of stuff. Ian does run some great events. He's doing also a private signing at the moment. Well, they're booking. They'll be doing a private signing with Frank Lampard Senior in the coming weeks. So if you want to get anything, contact Ian in terms of getting stuff signed, because Frank Senior doesn't do a lot of those types of things. So it's a great opportunity to jump on and get involved. I'm just seeing if Budgie has started. No, not yet. Budgie, if you start, then I can cut. Then I can move across. If not, I might just start for him. Really, to be honest. But anyway, Budgie can start now. I mean, let me text him. Start the stream, and I'll close mine and bring people over. There we go. And then tomorrow we'll have so it's still quite a big news day, really, in terms of talking about Lewis Orford and various other things as well that have been mentioned in the last 24 hours. So, as I said, we're going to try and do a few more of these. We've got a few more coming up as well, particularly over the international break. We have got, as I said, a few ex-players, also working on some guys who I don't think you've ever seen on camera, ex-West Ham players as well, which should be quite interesting and quite fun, as well as people who are ex-Hammers but do a job and they're football agents as well. So I think that'd be really interesting as well, in terms of finding out how it all works inside the agencies, in terms of being an agent. What we got? Love you, Jimmy. I've been going since 1980, but you want to... Yeah, Reg, as I said, there's certain players, as me and Ian were saying, there's certain players who you have an affiliation with, and Jimmy's one of them. As we said, he's made 20 appearances for the club. Yeah, it's great fun, and he just gets it. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream. Wait, and it should take you directly over to Budgie's stream afterwards as well. Don't forget to give us a like as well. Always helps. And until next time, take care. Stay safe, my people. Stay well. And yes, exactly. And if he didn't mention it, he did save a penalty from Frank Lampard. Much love. See you on the other side. Bye.